hard sometimes.
What?
It's so hard being so bad. Okay.
Welcome.
On a serious note, though, oh my gosh, we want to talk about baddie issues today, okay? Yeah, we have never discussed this before until today. So I'm sure some of y'all baddies out there can relate, okay? When I look good, sometimes men treat me better. But where the baddie issues come is when there are other women who treat me worse. When I look good, when we baddies, it's like they're mean because we look good. But if we was ugly, then they'd be like nicer to us because they want us to look ugly. I don't understand that. I don't get it.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'm like, guys are so much nicer.
They're nicer.
But
Yeah.
some girls be just... Why?
Can y'all relate?
Can y'all...
Please, let us know if y'all relate.
Hey, y'all saddies. Can y'all, like, let us know in the comments, like, why? You know what it's giving?
What?
Quana.
Yeah, that's what it's giving. I'm like, okay, but I don't, like, it's not our fault. Well, it probably is our fault. We look so good.
I think if this message is not understood, it can just come off like we're arrogant or we're this or that. We're not here to do that, right?
Yeah.
We're not here to flex.
We make light of it by laughing at it.
Right, but it's like on a serious note, it kind of sucks sometimes because I think the world thinks that like, oh, this girl's pretty. She has the whole world given to her. Like she doesn't, and it's like, wait, what?
The thing is, we're not unkind to people whether they're good looking or not,
Right.
Like we just are kind, and that's just also what we want reciprocated.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's like energy too. So sometimes, like, oh my gosh, I went shopping the other day and there was just this lady, she was just mean. Where was I? I was shopping somewhere. And, I was at Marshall's. This was like in December when I was Christmas shopping. And she was just mean to me. But the other workers were so nice to me. I'm like, why was she so mean to me? And she was like mean mugging me and like just, I don't know what it was. But one of the things I wanted didn't have no tag on it. She was mean to me, but everybody was kind to me. I'm like, I don't understand. Sometimes I don't know if it's because of our race or ethnicity or if it's because we're pretty, because sometimes people naturally like don't like you because of our pretty privilege. And sometimes people don't like you because of your ethnicity, unfortunately. So, but sometimes it's both. And sometimes I just feel like people don't like that.
I'm not laughing at that, but I'm laughing. I'm picturing all the things. I'm picturing you at, Marshalls and all these things. And something that I hear all the time is like, well, it's because you're so rich.
You think I'm rich? They think I'm rich.
I'm like, thank you. I meant touch and agree.
Wait, touch and agree. We gonna be rich. We rich.
I mean, let's touch and agree with them. I'm like, you think so? Like, I'm not saying that I'm struggling, this, that, but I'm like, we just live regular lives, like, really. And so I wonder if that's sometimes where people think, like, oh, I don't need to be nice to her. She's like this kind of...
Yeah.
All in all, I just feel like there are a lot of assumptions, which leads to people treating us a certain way.
Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, I want to talk about baddie issues again.
Yes.
So
go for it.
There's I have a friend who has this niece that I met. I love her.
I have this friend who has a niece that I met. I have this friend who has a niece.
My friend's niece.
I'm trying
basically.
to. Oh,
my friend's niece. She met me and she was like,
"Oh yeah,
wow!" Like, she was like, "I didn't expect you to be like this because you're so pretty." And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" But I was like, "Okay, that's a compliment because it's like she thinks like she basically didn't expect me to be so bubbly and like kind because I guess usually like." Very pretty girls are like not, but that's weird because I don't really think of that. Like I think typically like pretty girls are kind, and because you're kind, you're kind, you're pretty.
I feel like pretty girls are actually the sweetest because like they're beautiful and they're not comparing. They just are. They just are what they are, and like. Usually it's the pretty girls that are like, oh my gosh, I love this. They have no problem giving out compliments.
It's easy to make friends with those.
Yes,
those
I love people period. But like there's something about like pretty girls with this energy. I feel like maybe that's what it is. Like there's just negative energy that doesn't like mesh well with that.
Is everything.
Yeah. That reminds me of when we were in Jamaica though, and like how everyone was like, why are you guys like this?
Yeah.
Are you guys actually?
They were like surprised that we were kind.
Yeah. They're
That
like,
surprised me.
and I was like, why are you surprised? Because you're pretty and American. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so interesting.
That made me sad because I'm like,
Yeah.
how did the other American people represent our country? You know what I mean? Like,
Girl.
how did y'all represent yourselves?
Not well.
Because it's like when you go to another when you go to another country, you shouldn't be expecting it to be the way that you want it to be.
Right.
And so like that's so unfortunate that like they try to accommodate other people who come visit their country because those people have been so entitled.
Yeah.
That's wrong. Why would you do that? Why are you traveling then?
That is
doesn't make
true.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every other country is so accommodating. They put everything in English, but then what? People come visit here and they're like,
this is America. Speak English. Can I have burrito tacos? Like, oh my gosh. Y'all are annoying. We're talking about baddie issues. Let's also talk about pretty privilege.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of go hand in hand.
Oh, definitely.
Pretty privilege is fun too. It's funner.
Okay, talk about it.
I think like, I mean, I'm not talking about in the way of like we get whatever we want, but it's like, it's just, it has its perks. As in like, you know, we mentioned that when we're done up and we dress well, I think we get better treatment. I think this goes for guys too though. I think it's a put togetherness. It's not necessarily like a pretty woman thing or a good look or a good this. It's just like, usually when you look well put together, when you look professional, people treat you more professionally. When you look like this, people treat you like that. Yeah. And it kind of sucks sometimes, yes. But sometimes I feel like people take me more seriously when I look well put together. Like people are less likely to think like, oh, she's this Asian girl who doesn't know how to say anything. When I come with my best foot forward, I feel like I'm treated with a certain type of respect.
Which is unfortunate too, though. I feel like that sucks because why can't we just be taken as is? Like, just as we are.
Like human decency?
Yeah. It's unfortunate that this is the kind of world that we live in. Yeah. Where it's really based on how you look. So many things are based on your physical appearance. And I feel like that's not okay. And that's kind of like shameful. Because like, whether it's body shaming or pretty or ugly shaming, or you know what I mean, like it makes it feel like you're never enough, but like we are all enough. We don't have to change anything about us.
I think this is why like there's so many insecurities and it's hard. I think I also feel, you know, I feel like this is like a lighthearted topic, but then it's like if you look deeper at it and the impact of this type of viewing, like whether you, with the pretty privilege, you only treat good looking people like this, or with baddie issues, you treat them like this. It's like, wait, none of that really makes the world go round though. It's all based off the assumption and judgment of how people look. And I think that's why we should treat people with how we are at our core and how we would want to treat ourselves. And that's like a one size fits all. It's not based off how this person looks. It's according to how I am. I treat people with respect and kindness because that's how I am.
Yeah, period. That's so true. And I also kind of want to add how like a lot of like what the like people describe or define as pretty is very based on racism. I feel like it's very much like, okay, straight, smooth, long hair, skinny, light-skinned. It's very much like that. And I'm just like, wow, racism is embedded in so many things.
Which, oh my gosh, so much of our beauty standards is based off of like Black beauty, just for them to have been oppressed on those exact same features for like the longest of times. Like big tits, big butts, that's curves,
beautiful wavy hair.
Yes, like lumptuous lips. Like, okay, wait, all the things that y'all made extremely difficult for Black women, now you are going to get enhanced.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
That's why I feel like it's so important to really know who you are and love yourself exactly as you are, because the standards, those are like always changing. But it's like, are you enough for you? Like, do you think you're beautiful? Do you think you're pretty? You know? And in doing that, like, you won't have to worry about if you're a baddie or not, if you're pretty or not. You know what I mean? Because it flows from you, honestly. feel like when you're too worried about other people, that's when you become insecure and unkind to people. And that's when baddie issues exist. But if you just simply exude that beauty within yourself and just be, then you don't worry about those things. And you just naturally are just so beautiful. And I wish people knew that more.
Yeah.
I feel like growing up, we were always taught, like, we have to do this and that, and, like, transform this and that, like, what we wear, like, the things that we watched and seen or heard growing up. It's almost as if, like, we were never good enough because we weren't skinny enough, or we didn't have the money to get what we wanted to look good, or we didn't dress a certain way. But it's just like, okay, and, like, you can have all that and still be ugly because your heart and your energy. So, yeah.
People are, like, in love with the facade and the mask of things, and I think it's important to be so aware and observant that you see someone's soul in who they are, because one day we are not going to look like this. We're going to get older, our hair's going to change, our skin's going to change. But when that day comes, who you are inside, that's who you actually are. What would that look like to people? That's the view, that the lens that we need to see. Like, we need to be able to look at each other for who we actually are. And I think that saved me a lot from people. I've known, like, there's this post that it was like, if only we saw souls instead of the body. I see the soul. The body, like, the good looks, that's just a plus. But I see the soul, and it's like, it makes it very difficult to be around.
Like, I think of it, like, at funerals, when people, like, share people's obituaries and speak of them, they don't be like, oh, they were so good looking. Like, okay. But it's usually about who they were, what they left, how they made people feel. And so I always think of that too.
I love that you even mentioned funeral, because at a funeral, their body is there, but they're not there anymore. So what does that tell you about a human? It is the soul, y'all. And this is, like, the number one most important and difficult thing to explain to someone is, you are not your body. You are not that shirt. I'm not this sweater. It's like, what I am in the inside, that is who I am. That's why when someone is different, when you know someone well enough, you'd be like, so's different today. Are you okay? It's not like your hair's different. Hey, your hair's up. Are you okay? It's you know what I mean? It's like, let's get over the physical, y'all, and start seeing people for who they are, which is the soul.
Okay. Period.
Girl, it took me a long time to realize this because I struggled with, like, why do people care so much about these things? Like, I used to go to a church, and how long your hair was mattered, how long your skirt was mattered, how long. After a while, I tried to adhere to all those rules, and after a while, I'm just like, I cannot do this anymore. My skirt will never be long enough. I will never be perfect enough. I will never forget everything, because I felt like deep inside, I was like, I feel like I'm working so hard on this, and that's not good enough. You don't see my soul.
It became all about trying to be good enough physically instead of, like, the true reason why you guys were there.
So many people want to maintain an image. I don't care about maintaining the image. The image is just the plus.
And when you let that go, that control and desire to, like, keep up with how you look every single day, I feel like you liberate yourself so much. Like, when you no longer care about how people view you or what they think of you. Like, what do you think of you? That is what matters the most, because, and we've talked about this before, like, anyone can say anything to you. You're beautiful, you're pretty, but if you don't believe in yourself, you're going to continue to struggle in that. But when you see it for yourself, there's nobody that can tell you anything else.
I agree.
So please keep this message in your heart and your soul, and be very intentional in loving yourself too, because that's important. That's beautiful. That's pretty in itself. And beauty is more than what you and how you look physically. It's who you are. So what characteristics do you exude? Like, what do you love about yourself? We want to hear that. Like, that is what's beautiful.
Which is why I think this channel, like, it's really what drove us to want to do this channel, is because we want to talk beyond this physical thing. And this is why I think this is why you love having deep conversations so much, because it's like, let's look past this. This surface thing. Yes.
I don't like the surface level conversations. Unless I don't like you, then I like it. Because then we just talk about the weather and stuff.
Which is a really good point. When we don't want to engage in someone, we engage on just the surface. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to TJ Maxx and be like, hi, tell me about your deepest, darkest secret. It's just like, oh, hi, how are you doing? I feel like that surface level thing is good for casual conversations, but I don't feel like it is, like, the meat of relationships.
Interesting conversation about baddie issues and beauty. But just remember who you are. Dig deeper into the beauty of your soul, and let us know what you love about yourself. Tell yourself those things. Look in the mirror and appreciate those beautiful things that you have been gifted with, because everyone has their own beauty.
I hope you guys stayed long enough to understand the gist of what we were actually trying to talk about. Like, I hate being misunderstood, and I don't want people to take the first part of this message and be like, oh, they just think this. It's like, no.
Yeah. They're conceited. They want to talk about their struggles with being bad.
Oh my gosh.
It's so hard being this hot. We just like to use humor as a way to, talk about these things.
We hope that message was received.
We'll see you again. We start this off fake serious. Okay.
Hold on. I'm so bad at this.
Sad stuff.
Bro.
Okay.
This is sad. I don't know.
Remember pretend I'm crying. That might help. You know what's so hard?
Wait.